Good afternoon. Let me take my hat off. There we go. I'm indoors. I'm not supposed to wear a hat indoors. Did you know that? That's old school. So it's another beautiful day in Sacramento, but it's colder than it was yesterday. And so I have my window closed, but my wall heater's on and you may hear it blowing. So if that's the case, that's what it is. Welcome to all of you who have joined me live and for those who are watching the recording. It is 1 p.m. on the Thursday after Ash Wednesday. And, I've decided not to promote these videos. I will leave it up to Providence as to whether a person finds it and watches it or not. I think that's how this is going to play. Anyway, today I looked at the readings and I chose to look at the gospel reading. And so as I'm going to read this, I'm going to put it up on the screen and I'm going to read it. We can read it together. And as we do so, I just, if you want, you can even just close your eyes and listen to the words and just think about how the words hit you and what resonates with you. And then when we're done reading it, I'll talk about what resonated with me because I've looked at it a few times this morning. So let's bring it up here. There it is. And I prefer this perspective. And we're reflections. So let's read this together. And I enlarged the font so I don't have to put my glasses on. So this is a reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. This is chapter 9, verses 20 through to 25. Jesus said to his disciples, "The Son of Man must suffer greatly and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised." Then he said to all, "If anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. What profit is there for one to gain the whole world but yet lose or forfeit himself?" The first thing that I noticed was that the reading is couched with two different audiences. One, Jesus said to his disciples, and then two, he said to all. So it sounds like oftentimes Jesus would tell his disciples things that he didn't tell the general public. And as the period of Lent is leading up to Passion Week, right? Lent technically ends Thursday night of the Holy Triduum. And that's the Thursday night before Good Friday. And it is at the Mass of the Washing of the Feet, the Mass of the Lord's Supper. And that's where Lent ends. And so the readings are building up to this. And so if we hear Jesus telling his disciples what's going to happen, right? He's going to suffer greatly, be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, be killed, and raised on the third day. Whether they understood it, I doubt that. I think there are many, many times we actually read that they didn't understand it. So, but there it is in a nutshell. That's the essence of what we're heading toward this Lenten season. Then he said to all, "If anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. And that's what sort of jumped out at me. You know, one of the things that I like to do and that I've done for years as an adult, I never did this as a kid because we didn't have them as a kid. And that is playing video games. Before the advent of smartphones, you know, we had consoles and computer-based games, playing those. And then when smartphones came along, game developers built games for the phone. And I don't know if you've ever played one of those, but if you have, you know how addicting it feels. It just feels, we just want to play it all the time. A good game developer will start giving rewards as you play a lot at first. What happens when we accomplish a goal like that is our brain releases dopamine, which is a hormone, and dopamine creates pleasure. And so everyone likes to feel good. And so as we play these games, this dopamine is being released in the brain and we feel good. Oh, here's a comment. So I will break from my train of thought and say, hey, Dave. Dave knows what I'm talking about in regards to video games and dopamine. So one of the things that psychologically we get hooked on is something called instant gratification. And that gratification comes from the release of dopamine. And it creates impulsive thoughts. It creates the desire to want rewards immediately. And it builds in a lack of patience. We just can't wait for anything. We want the rewards now. We want to feel good. We're sort of, I wouldn't say addicted to it, but dopamine creates a desire for pleasure. And when we deny ourselves, to me, that's just another phrase, a way to say delayed gratification, learning how to wait, maybe taking on the hard tasks first so that we don't receive that goal dump of dopamine right away. We can wait for that. It'll come, but we can wait for that. But you know, I think in this day and age, because cell phones are so prevalent, smartphones, the dopamine addiction is just prevalent. And I'm going to call it an addiction because we become not dependent on it, but we just like to feel good all the time. Chocolate will do the same thing. Eating chocolate, excuse me, will release dopamine. So here's another from my buddy Dave. Studies of mice given a choice of dopamine versus food, they'll choose the dopamine, right? They'll starve to death. Dopamine is a powerful hormone. It's a natural hormone. It's the brain releases it to say, good job, well done, right? It's what, you know, when we work really, really hard and then we get that satisfaction, that pleasure at the end of a task, it then gives us the motivation to do something else, to do more, right? But if it's given to us like immediately and we're used to it immediately, then we grow impatient. We don't have the stamina to do longer tasks. We get bored easily. We don't feel like there's anything in it for me. What am I getting out of this? Nothing. Because it's not instant. It's not immediate. We haven't learned to wait. We're so used to it being right now. And so when we look at the phrase, he must deny himself, that is learning how to delay gratification. And if you're used to that instant gratification, delaying gratification is tough. It doesn't feel good. We don't like it. It's a discipline, right? It's almost a penitential act to begin to give up that instant or immediate gratification, to learn to wait, to learn to delay that gratification, to build that patience in. And yeah, it's not easy stuff. It's not easy stuff at all. So this Lenten season, I would encourage all of us to look at areas in our lives where we look for instant gratification rather than waiting for a delayed gratification, where we can, in that little way, deny ourselves that instant pleasure, that dopamine dump, and learn to grow more patient, to have more endurance, and to not be seeking after reward, but enjoy the task for the task itself. So that's the little word that I got today for myself that I thought I would share. And I wish you all well, that you have a profitable Lenten season, that you stay happy and healthy, and God bless you. So join me in letting go of all these things we've got here. Let's see, bye-bye scripture, and there I am. And now let's just say bye-bye. So it's been nice talking with you all. Have a great afternoon.